Win big in 2024 with Team Sync from RotoBaller. Import your fantasy teams and sync your leagues. Get customized tools and tailored advice for your specific rosters and scoring settings, including live recommendations from the Live Draft Assistant, Free Agent Finder, and Lineup Optimizer. Sync an unlimited amount of NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL fantasy teams from all of the major fantasy platforms. Get a discount for any premium pass using my promo code Knuckler. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio and start rotoballing like a boss. This podcast is also brought to you by Parlay Play Fantasy Sports. Use my referral code RotoBrady. Get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. They're slashing lines and giving out boosts all day long. Check it out. It's a fun platform. Follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady. We got another huge UFC event coming up. That's where I make picks for everything. Follow the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another interlude episode of RotoBaller's official MMA podcast, Tap That. Now, look, you know, we mostly talk about MMA, the wide world of sports on this show, but if you've been a long-time listener, you know that fights don't always happen in the octagon. Sometimes they happen with lyricism. And folks, with me for the third time on this show, he is a member of Cypher Clique out of Dover, Delaware. They've got such a smooth sound. They've been busy over the last few years, putting out great projects, all around battle rap connoisseur. Give it up for Jayin88, aka Relay. Jay, how's it going, man? So great to have you back.
Good, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Just to say, backdoor politics to fool the public for plays. The sun shines for everyone, so I'm trusting the shade. It's not a GPS glitch, but I'm stuck in my ways.
So, dude, the last time I talked to you, I think it was right after Super Chill Shit.
Yeah.
Let's see, the album before that. No, we were talking about, too, the success of Things Went Left.
Yes, that's what it was, yeah.
It's been, yeah, it's weird because it was 2 times over the last like handful of years, and what a blur it's been. But dude, you guys have remained super active. This year in East Coast California, and the album Good Luck. So like, what you guys have made great use of EPs too, like just like staying active and putting stuff out. You know, like what's motivation behind like collecting together, getting like a good like 4 songs out with like kind of a similar wavelength to them, and then kind of gearing up for like a bigger project.
So yeah, mostly every Sunday we just link up and just record tracks, and then we decide to put them together for an EP just to stay consistent and stay in the algorithm. So over the past couple years, we've done EPs produced by James Major. Our one before our last one was produced by Ski Beats. He was on, of course, Rockefeller, so he did songs with like Jay-Z, Little Kim, Fat Joe. He's producer early in the early 90s for them. So we did an EP with him, and we just keep working right now.
So how does that like come together? Because like it seems like on each EP there's like a premier like person that is like producing every track or is like featured on every track. Is it just kind of the convenience of like, yeah, like if we're gonna be in the same place at the same time, then you know let's get a good 4 or 5 songs out.
James Major, he's also my brother in the group. He's the producer, so I say like 85-90% of the beats we do is by him. And last year we just decided to work with Ski Beats because I got his information back in during COVID, but we never got to like link up and stuff due to COVID, obviously. So we just bought that idea last year, reached out to him. He sent us a couple beats, so we put an EP together. We also did an EP with Chuck English. He's from the group The Cool Kids, so we did an EP with him also. So we just did those 2 and just knocked it out last year.
That's awesome. And no, I've always loved your guys' sound, and it seems like some of you guys have had like solid like commercial success and exposure, like the last few projects. I remember, I think it was Super Chill Shit. I think when it came out, it was in like Apple Music top 50 or top 100 of albums out at the time.
Top 50, yeah.
What kind of correct. You've been seeing for the more like recent projects?
The Ski Beast one, it reached top 25, so we're really proud of that because the promotion with that was kind of like, we usually space it out for like a month in advance. The promotion for the Ski Beats is kind of like short than usual, but it still charted pretty high, so we're proud about that.
And so the album that came out this year, Good Luck, folks, it's 10 songs. I highly recommend checking it out on Spotify or wherever you listen to music. And again, I have to give you guys continuous props on the way that you do your album artwork. You know, like it's always a very unique flavor, and it's always supposed to like it. I feel like it's always supposed to make me feel like I'm in a certain setting, and I think it does a great
That's
job.
correct. That's correct. Yep.
So what was the thinking behind Good Lucks? Because this one it's like it's a different kind of like, I guess the word is an animation, but it's a kind of different like illustration and graphic style. But things went left. That was the first one where I was like, damn, that does not look like a lot of album covers that I've seen.
Yeah, for the I'll just take it back. For things went left, we saw the album art online, and we asked the artists could we use it, and they let us use it. So that was when we found, like, after doing like weeks of research, so it fit like the setting of the feeling of the EP. So we used that. And for Good Luck, we just brainstormed and thought about good luck. You're at a casino, like you're gambling, like good luck. I hope you hit a jackpot. So that's why the album artwork is like presented that way. So let's go by the title usually.
Yeah, I love the like the 1950s kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Now it makes the music that you hear that just like that much more intriguing to listen to, you know, like if you guys do your job and you always seem to, then it gives you the vibe that you're supposed to get from it.
That's correct. Definitely correct.
Well, Jay, over the last couple of months, all right, so I told you I moved down from Columbus back to Northern Kentucky, just like I'm right on the river across from Cincinnati. We moved in an apartment right at the end of April. And I feel like it's been such a time warp because shortly thereafter, this whole Drake and Kendrick thing starts, man. And at first, dude, as fans of battle rap, there is nothing more that we ever could have asked for than to see what I would like, you know, as close as you can get to these labels, the People's Champion versus like the commercial all-time Goliath. Like this is what fans of everything want to see. Fans of movies, fans of superheroes or football, whatever it is, this is what you want to see. And so when it started happening, it didn't feel real because things like this rarely happen. You know, we mostly hear we've heard subliminals from Drake and Kendrick back at each other going to over a decade. So when this starts to happen, like what were the first kind of like thoughts and approaches that you had to it?
At first I thought it was going to be like a friendly exchange of words back and forth between the two, because they were pretty much started around the same time. Drake was probably like a year earlier, but they pretty much came up together along with J. Cole as well. But then Drake, he kind of did the same thing he did with Pusha T. I actually put this on my Twitter. He mentioned Kendrick's significant other who has nothing to do with the battle, and then that's when it goes left. So I honestly think if Drake didn't do that, he probably would have. It would have been a slightly different outcome, honestly.
Well, and so this is the crazy thing too, is without touching on all the other topics that surround, like if Drake and Kendrick did this in 2014, it's not the same. And every year after, it happens this year with everything that's going on with Israel and Palestine, with all the Diddy stuff, and this like internet obsession with the word pedo or with the word pedophile. It all came together in the worst kind of storm for Drake.
Right.
And so it's like, you've got like the worst, like, dude, I just saw like on your Twitter profile, all you said was, I got tickets to Locks, was basically the crux of your sentence. And some dude was like, why? So you can hear the same thing, same song.
Yeah.
What the hell is people's problem, man? Like,
I have no idea.
It was one of these things too, where like the internet has never been a part of a rap battle like this one before. Never. I don't know what kind of battle we would have gotten out of Jay-Z and Nas had Twitter been around and had this many users at the time. So
yes,
at the time when all these songs are for that weekend, where it's like we're waiting for a response to Push-Ups, Euphoria comes, and Euphoria is the ultimate tone setter of a diss track. Like,
yes, it is.
It tells you exactly what is about to happen, and we'll get to that We'll get to that in a second. But as this like kind of starts and you're trying to keep up with everything that's going on, what did you find the experience like to find like reliable, rational information about what was going on? And like at a certain point, it became like, damn, I'm not even going to express my opinion about anything that's happening because you can't make anybody happy.
Yeah, it was just a lot those past couple weeks because I don't know, people, you can tell who people were favoring, like Drake and then Kendrick, and it just kept going on and on and on. Then after that little break, I forgot which one came out. Drake dropped he dropped the video, then Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams, like right after. It would just canceled it completely out. So it was like, did he sit at home and just record all these songs for like a week and then just waited for like Drake to drop? Like it was premeditated. Like I think uh he knew what Drake was gonna do.
And you know, there's been because you thought after like the Heart Part 6, you thought there'd be a few days where like people were going crazy to not like us, and that definitely happened. But you thought maybe it would slow down. And it did. The conversation has been constant. And then the pop out concert happens and the whole thing just blows up. Kendrick has done a very good job at pacing. You know, like he gave himself a huge 5-day period. Drake kind of undid himself with the Heart Part 6, and then it keeps continuing. And now people have had enough time to react to pop out, and now he films the Not Like Us video in Compton. And here's where I want to get to and what I meant by like perfect timing by Kendrick and ultimate tone setting. I feel like I still have so many. I feel like I have more questions unanswered than that got answered, actually, for both of the dudes.
Right.
Because if you had asked me to handicap this MMA style or any sports gambling style before, I would have had Kendrick as the favorite. You know, even because you're going off of lyrical ability for sure, and who's easier to make fun of? Who's always been easier to make fun of? It's always
Right.
and some of that you could call the internet. Some of it's its own fault, and some of it's a combination. You know, he's always made it easy, and especially after Pusha T. You know, so but it almost feels like for Kendrick, it came together 100% perfect. It's if there's any bit of suspicion in me left, it's that I find it hard to believe that a dude could have planned out 5 days, however many songs perfectly, each one predicting what was going to happen next and what had already happened. It almost doesn't make any sense, you know? So, but in the best way possible. Like, I mean that like if this really is what we all think we all saw this whole time, then I don't know if there has ever been a greater masterclass of warfare in this genre.
I see what you're saying now because back to your point of like how Drake has everything about him. Just like in battle rap, I know like certain battlers have a whole bunch of angles about them. So if let's say Drake has like 9 things about him you can write about, and Kendrick he's quiet. He doesn't like he's not active. He doesn't have anything like any scandals or anything. So it's gonna be hard to say stuff. So it's like Kendrick has like, oh, I can put these 2 things in diss track 1, these 3 things in diss track 2, these 4 things in diss track 3, and make it creative. So it's just like bomb after bomb after bomb. So there's only so much you can do.
That's a good point too, and it's like why because a lot of smack battlers have opinions on this, and a lot of them have like a lot of the battle community has relationships with Drake one way or another.
Right.
And so I see why the battle community, at least they say that they have a different perspective on how the battle actually happened. Because take a dude like Thesaurus take a dude like him. Every time that they wanted to get an Australian battle promotion like started, they brought out Thesaurus and they brought out, Mac, and they had him face whoever was going to be like the poster guy of their league. And what they said about Thesaurus was the same stuff that we had been hearing since 2008. And what Thesaurus said about them was, I don't know anything about you because you know me and I don't know you. You know,
Yep.
it's similar tape, but it was always the same. And this is kind of why, like, it's weird the way that the Drake bars by Kendrick about anything that he's ever done, what he did on stage back like a long time ago, anything like that. It's weird because like if you pay attention to the internet, this is stuff that we were steadily seeing creeping up like for years, you know? so it was weird that Kendrick was really the first dude to ever address it like on wax.
Yeah, I find that kind of. I guess he just figured like, why not? I'm just gonna go all out. You woken the beast. I've done nothing. I'm nothing to you personally. And then he just wanted to just like take the throne. I think honestly he was kind of tired of Drake. Maybe Drake has been doing something behind the scenes and stuff like that because this isn't the first time I've heard about people having like a bad, not bad, I'm saying like a questionable vibe about Drake of what he does. So like, and it's also funny that a lot of the artists that Drake helped out, they aren't coming to his defense either.
I saw you I saw you repost something about that, I think like within the last day or so.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Now, like obviously there's a lot of information we don't, and that's what makes this so fun is like even though it's horrible, the fact that this is happening at the same time as the Diddy thing, all I wonder as like a fan of the history of rap and everything is like, what don't I know? There's got to be so much crazy shit that I don't know. You know,
Right. Same here. Same here. Yep.
you think about all like, you know, beefs that happened in the 90s or anything to do with Dr. Dre or to do with Rockefeller, anything like that. For one piece of information that we have, there's got to be 100 crazier pieces of information that we don't have. But it's also got to be that people that Drake helped out earlier in their career, and they absolutely did benefit from that. It's hard to argue against. A lot of the time, it's hard to argue against some of those points. You know,
Right.
some people maybe they hampered their potential by linking themselves at any point. Some people maybe that was as high as they were ever going to get. Who knows? But it's got to be too that like no one wants to stand up for him right now. Is there a less popular opinion that you could have in this entire genre than saying like, "Whoa, everybody, take it easy on him"? Like that would be a hard place to put yourself in, especially with everybody that just united against him out in California.
Yeah. They don't want to be like the it's hard to say. They don't want this to be the guy like, hey, like he's like the like defending him and stuff like that. Because right now it's not gonna go well. He's just looking. It's just gonna look like you're trying to like get a feature from him or a favor from him down the line. So I don't think it's a good idea for any artist to do that. They might as well wait until this dies down, if it does, by the end of the year.
Isn't it like such a weird thing about this genre as opposed to any other musical genre that you have to plan out those moves? Like, very rarely do you hear like Luke Bryan being like, "I don't know if I should like go up on stage with Kenny Chesney. I don't know what kind of message that would send." Like it's got to be so crazy trying to make a career of this music, but also having to think about stuff like that, even a little bit for everybody at every level.
Yeah, because with hip hop, of course, you know, is very competitive and everything like that. So especially like the whole battle and lyrical standpoint. But if you're making like mainstream or club or pop records, it's not too much competition or people trying to step on your toes and stuff. But if you're claiming to be the best, like I'm the best rapping and all that, of course you're gonna have people who's gonna subliminally call you out or call you out. Then you have to plan when you're gonna do this. And so I guess it depends on the subgenre on rap. If you're just there to make hits and stuff like example, Nelly or like Ludacris to an extent, you don't really have to worry about that too much.
And another crazy thing that I like, I swear to God, man, I still lose sleep over it trying to think about what was going on. Is for Drake, for as well as things went for Kendrick, I can't believe that that this was something that he decided he wanted to do, given the circumstances. And two, I can't believe he made the same mistakes. If everything that we have heard, if even a portion of it is true, that you just did the same thing, but in a way worse way than you did.
Yeah.
Did Pusha T, it's so weird because Drake had Duppy Freestyle, a song that I still like, really.
I like that song too. I like it a lot.
Like
Yeah.
we talked about that the first time. It's like on its own, I really like the way that that's delivered, and I like the things that it says about Kanye, at least, like things that I like. That at least someone said them, you know, in some
Yeah.
form. But then Story of Adnan brings it to a screeching halt. That's all we get. This arguably, if you're a really dedicated Drake fan, this one arguably went 1,000 times worse, but you could still try to make the argument on the internet, if you were committed to it, that Drake won because there's at least 2 songs you have to work with. You know, like you never, and maybe you are know a little bit more about this than I, because I don't think I was paying it too close attention to it on the internet at the time. But I don't remember anybody saying like, "Nah, for these reasons, Drake beat Pusha T." That that wasn't a narrative, but like there is still like a dedicated class of Drake fans on the internet that are making that argument right as we speak, Jay. They're on the internet typing.
Yep. They definitely are. I see it sometimes. I even see it on my timeline like now, like, oh, Kendrick's girlfriend is not with him. He's like lives in like Brooklyn or something like that. So that's true. So that clears it out. They don't even know if it's his kid. So that clears it out also. So by that, those are two facts. And Kendrick's bringing up stuff that Pusha T already said. So in that case, Drake won the battle. So I still see that on my timeline.
And I will say, because like people try to bring the battle argument into it. And it's like, here's the thing, like crowd reaction has always mattered.
Mm-hmm.
But we see judges all the time give, you have to make a balance between, what the crowd reaction is and what you're hearing. Because, there's different factors that go into who gets the crowd reaction. Sometimes it was for stuff that was not that entertaining.
Right.
This isn't one of those cases, but like, I think it was how many times Not Like Us got played. And it was like people could try to poke holes and Meet the Grams all that they wanted. Really, if I'm trying to listen to a diss track, I'm still putting on Euphoria and Meet the Grams as opposed to Like Us. Like Meet the Grams is very, like, that is the core of like what I think of to be a vile diss track.
It's so surgical. It's so very well put together. Perspective of the child, the dad, the mom. That's probably one of the best diss tracks I've ever heard like in life. It's so amazing.
And it's crazy too because it doesn't necessarily. Let's say the daughter's fake, because that's been the Drake narrative for the poster of the girl was in the background in the Family Matters video. I will give credit to that warfare tactic by Drake, but even if that part isn't true, it doesn't really matter if it's true. Like one, it plants the seed, and two, it shows that the worldwide fan base has lost trust in him, because they were so ready to believe it, whether it was true or not.
Right. It did. It was just well put together. The timing. He just knew with that it was just like a bomb, and then Not Like Us came out, and then I was like a bigger bomb, like kind of like there was a thing online on Twitter about how Drake did the same thing with Back to Back with Meek, and now years later, almost say 8-9 years later, this happens. Like karma's crazy. Like he got Meek Mill pretty much.
It's wild because like for me, my freshman year of high school, I drove down to Lexington with my brother and we saw Drake and Rupp Arena, who got opened up for by Rocky, who opened up for Kendrick. And then that summer, I think I went to Wiz Khalifa, who had Mac Miller, right? It was that tour where they were kind of like switching off headlining, I think.
Yeah, I remember that.
Who opened up for them was Schoolboy Q and Kendrick Lamar. And so it's like weirdly, the rapper I've seen the most live seems to be Kendrick, but it's crazy having been at that tour and seeing the whole thing with Rocky, Kendrick, and Drake all come full circle.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. He did this, you're right, he did this ASAP Rocky. Wow. ASAP, I don't know. I know he's working on the album right now. I just saw, I think like last week he's working on the album. Has some great producers on there, but Drake has no industry friends pretty much right now. It's just him by himself. I know he released a track that's like a international track, but the reception I seen to that was not that good.
And like, that's even the crazier thing, man. Like as someone who like appreciated Duppy Freestyle, loved really like those are two like really like people will remember those two diss tracks and people remember Back to Back for a long time. How we remember Drake versus Kendrick we won't even really know for like another like couple years. We have to see like this play out. But that's the crazier thing too is like, dude, there's a dude somewhere named Aubrey Graham who he might be awake right now. He's somewhere. And he might be sitting in a room in the dark. He might be plotting for the future. But somewhere there's a dude that had to deal with all this. Like whether you think he deserved it or not, there is a dude who's waking up and they're like, you have 500 million Twitter notifications. Like, no, I don't want to see any of those.
Yeah, it's a lot. It can take a toll on your mental. So you really got to be built for it, so to say, because Kendrick has like everybody saying OVO, just A minor and all that stuff. like he's been like it's pretty much like he's a joke, so to say. Like, I think he should just sit out for the rest of the year, to be honest, because it's a lot.
And the thing that makes me even more mad at him, like because like the whole time this was all so exciting, like waiting for the next thing to come was so fun, and
Yeah,
yet I also don't think I've ever been more miserable because it was exhausting, like trying to keep up with everything and keep
it
up
was.
with the psychotic like conspiracy theories that you think still might be true, like about everything. It's upsetting, but like that's what makes me so mad is that in the Family Matters video and in a bunch of other like formats, he kept telling us that there was like more coming, like there was something better on its way, and
Mhm.
that never came. Now, whether you get in a spot where it's too much after Not Like Us, or whether that was never really on the way, neither makes sense to me still. Like, why did you put yourself in this situation? I thought with Family Matters, I thought that you were ready for war, and I thought more was coming, and that was it.
Hmm. I think he knew he might have had something in the stash, but I think Not Like Us just took off to the point where like if I drop this song, it's still not going to do as much as this. So he just decided to have the last song and just like bow out. I think that's what it was.
It's just we'll never know like what, and all the thing with the hotel and the disabled reporter, that whole thing, the suitcase,
Yeah.
the dog. There's so many weird elements to this, man. Like there's never been anything like this.
Yeah, right, right. There hasn't, and no, this was definitely history. It was history's been made, and I don't think there's going to be another battle like this, not to this magnitude at least.
And like to take a little like jump adjacent to this, doesn't this also show you like, dude, I feel like my Twitter feed was not that bad a couple months ago. I feel like I liked some stuff that had to do with this, and then it started showing me things about like child predator rings in LA, videos of random fights happening in the street. Like I
Yeah,
don't know what level of the internet I have unfortunately connected myself with through this, but I also know what emojis should get you punched in the face. Like if you type them to people, if you use the clown, you use the crying laughing emoji for anything to argue with somebody. The word cap has been way overused, and Crody for the matter too. Like to
yeah.
like, dude, there is a lot of people on the internet that are not afraid that they're going to get punched in the face for the way that they talk to people in these conversations.
Especially on Twitter, Twitter's been a roller coaster for that whole Drake and Kendrick stuff. People have just been out of character, just taking it way too personal. Besides like a opinionated rap battle, which is like you drop your opinion, I drop my opinion, we agree to disagree and go on. Just people's just been taking it personal and just doing crazy stuff.
And I mean, like, academics involvement, like it always just like it keeps it alive, like
Yeah,
all there's so many personalities involved with this, like, and they've gotten so much burn over, and Joe Budden for all those folks, and Mal and all the like this like is what they've been waiting for too, because people want to hear people talking about this, and especially they want to hear people like making fun of Drake. Still, it still seems to be the thing that like sells the best.
yeah,
But like with the internet, the word like cap, imagine if people were talking like this during Jay-Z and Nas, and people were like, that's cap. Actually, I have the receipt from Nas's car, and it turns out Jay-Z didn't leave his condom in Nas's baby seat. Like, all you like, dude, you nerds are so annoying with that. Like you don't know. You don't have this insider information. None of us know what's going on in the lives of
right, right.
2.5 billionaires.
Yeah, people want to feel involved and try to be privy to stuff that they think they know and is not the truth. Just it's cool to just be a listener, be a consumer, listen to the record, form your opinion, and then go about your business. You don't have to like be like a detective and try to find some stuff just for clickbait and like clout. It's pointless.
Like people, they also can't accept like if there's a Drake fan who for whatever, because a lot of people have been listening to Drake since middle school or since elementary school, and now they're adults, and the
Yeah,
music, like he's been around the whole time. There, a lot of people can't accept that some people can hear the same song and actually not like it as much. It may not be what like the majority feels, but like sometimes with an art form, there's subjectivity to it, and sometimes
Mhm.
people like certain songs more, and there's not a whole lot of reason behind it.
That's true. That's a good point. I didn't really think of that. Drake has been out since 07, 08, and it's 2024. So there's literally kids who grew up listening to him like at from 9, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they're like in their early 20s now. So they're gonna have like a connection to him. So I didn't think about that because a lot of the people who I know like who are diehard siding with Drake, they're kind of on the younger side, and a lot of the quote unquote older people are kind of like siding with Kendrick. So it's kind of like I didn't really think of that's a good point. So they might have just been like having attachment to Drake. So it's kind of hard to accept like, he lost this one.
Well, okay, like here's where I think the doubling down comes from is you take someone that someone has listened to their entire life. And
Mhm.
like, even probably up to a year or two ago, and you get in the car and you put on some of that to like, and maybe, you have other things that you like, but like he's been there the whole time. Then everybody in the world starts calling him a creepy pedophile. It can't feel good for a lot of people for someone who,
Right.
and I would feel, people should feel that way too. Say it was, an athlete, like say it's LeBron James and someone started saying that about him, like people would on the internet would get totally defend. The doubling down would not shock me.
That's true. That's correct. That's very, very true. I think that might be the case. Might be the case.
And so real quick, because we've talked so much about like, because dude, like if I have to give the top 5 tracks that were made in this battle, I go from a diss perspective, Euphoria, Meet the Grams, maybe, but Not Like Us could be number 2. There are some like there catchiness, like that is a factor in making it
Right.
good. So that's kind of hard to spell out, but I do think that however you cut it, I do think that Family Matters is a top 5 track in the battle. And I think that if you were being like fair to Drake from that song, because you could say that Kendrick has all of the top 5. There's people that make arguments that Family Matters is top 3. The really dedicated people say it's the top of the whole exchange, which is a real hard argument to make, but it's the one where you can try to make it if you're real committed to it. So what did you rank as the top 5? And then what were your thoughts on Family Matters and everything that he was able to do in what was his big punch that included a video?
Uh for number one, for me personally, is definitely Meet the Grams because I just like the creativity of how he just like broke everything down with Surgical. I was a real big fan of that. And Not Like Us was just adding fuel to the fire. So that's number 2. Family Matters is definitely number 3. Uh then Euphoria, then uh 616 in LA.
What were you deciding between for number 5?
That or the Heart Part 6.
Really? You like the hard part 6 more than push-ups?
Yeah, I do.
Really? So that's interesting because that I just haven't seen that take a lot. So what's kind of your feelings about that?
He was like, it kind of seemed like, well, the Heart Part 6, he was kind of like actually rapping, and it kind of seemed like he was just debunking. It was more like a rebuttal. See, the Heart Part 6 to me is like a rebuttal to everything. So it's like, okay, he's rebuttaling, so maybe he's coming back next round. But towards the end, he kind of like did a cop out. But I just like the rebuttals he had for the Heart Part 6. And it came like pretty fast too.
Yeah, and like I was holding on kind of because I was hoping for another one from him just to make it more interesting. And the whole theory was that it was going to be on Mother's Day, which was also Whitney's birthday this year.
Yeah.
Oh, and then like Father's Day came, and another like thought popped in my head. I was like, "What about if it happened today?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. We got past this already. It didn't happen."
Yeah.
Um, but no, like, so what were some of your like favorite aspects of Family Matters? Because that is like a. I keep listening to it as I keep listening. I probably listened to all of the top 5 at least. I don't know, 10 to 15 times, it seems like over the last like month or so. But like what do you think he did right with Family Matter? I think this is the more fun conversation that we can have now that we've, you know, duly said like everything that Kendrick did right and that it was amazing and that it was a masterclass. But if we're going to have this conversation for the purpose of devil's advocacy, what do you think Drake did right with Family Matters?
Well, Family Matters, what he did very right was having a visual, and like the visual pretty much put into perspective of everything he was saying, which is I think was very, very smart, honestly. If he didn't have a visual for Family Matters, he would have got cleaned out bad. I think it would have been even worse. But the video definitely helped with the van. He had the van and like having the truck and just breaking the van from Good Kid, Mad City. It just kept you in tune with everything he was saying, with the family, everything in the background. There's a lot of hidden jewels, and you have to pretty much watch the video to get. So I think the video pretty much put in perspective what he was saying and kind of brought it to life, which that's why it's a top 3 song for me out of the disc, like clearly the top 3.
And it was those like, it was the visual parts that made me think that something else better was coming. You know, like there's so many like what we all thought were kind of like hints, you know, like the bra hanging on the chair when he's in the recording studio, all that stuff. It's like, dude, did that mean anything or not? Like, I'll always wonder that. But because otherwise I have so many questions either way. You know, if you didn't have anything, why did you set it up like you did? And if you did have something, was it just not that good? Like, and if so, you know, then there was a mistake to enter into this. But
Mhm.
with Family Matters too, I mean, like the beat switches, when I heard those,
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I was hoping for. Like this sounded hungry. This sounds like I'm here to win this, you know?
Yeah.
But one criticism of Family Matters is that he spent too much time addressing people who were not named Kendrick Lamar.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
You know, like he threw the bars at Rick Ross, at Rocky, at The Weeknd, at Metro. What is your take on this? Like, do you think that in Family Matters, Drake could have said to have beaten Rick Ross and Rocky with giving them like time to respond, and with Rocky having an album coming out? Where, and this is the part that I'm less on, is like, I don't see that like you can just throw your weight behind another dude who beats Drake and then you get to say that you won too. I think that, if anything, is what's kind of like vexed me about Rick Ross's involvement in it all. It was
Yeah.
like, all right, you're reacting to the song, man, because like the only good diss track you really had over a long period of time was aimed at Birdman.
Yeah, Ross was pretty much trying to capitalize on everything like that, and he's just using the 50 Cent tactic, just calling him BBL Jersey the whole time, and like it was just a distraction. I think it was just like too much. That's another thing what Drake did. You're right. He spent too much time just calling out everybody, and he called out Rick Ross, was the wrong person to do that because he's gonna keep agitating you. So it's just like the wrong set of people you just like called out, honestly, and it was just like too much because Ross is gonna go at you every single day because this guy's like on Instagram, Twitter, on his video, just he's not gonna stop.
No one cares that that guy was a corrections officer.
Right.
Nobody cares. It's so funny the things that end up mattering. You know, like 6ix9ine. We knew that dude was creepy for a long time, but
Yeah.
like the things that ultimately sink people are very interesting. I like Drake's bars against Rick Ross. I thought like a lot of those were like really good. You know, put them behind bars and let them rot just like your old job and all.
Yeah.
The Rocky bars, I thought that was as focused as he sounded the entire battle against anybody.
Mhm.
You know, that one stretch that he had against Rocky, I think might be his best snippet of any song that he had. And you know, for strategically, it's like a cop out for Drake, or it's an exit strategy. And he kind of did this. You can always claim that you were one dude taking on a bunch of people if you throw
Yeah,
it
that's
at
true. Yeah.
everybody else. You know, and that's kind of what he did was with Good Times, Summer Vibes Coming Soon, and like him as a samurai, like facing 1,000 others. It sounds so funny when you say it out loud, but we were captivated by this for weeks. So it's an interesting strategic thing that, like, yeah, if I go after everybody and everybody gangs up against me, it's not necessarily like I lost.
That's true. As a matter of fact, I had a tweet about that because I said something fun like "Pusha T, is your turn. Drop the bomb now." Like, because he had like there's like a poster of Drake like being Thanos or something like that, and he was going against everybody and all that. So like I should retweet the poster, but it was Pusha T, Rick Ross, Kendrick, ASAP Rocky, Metro Boomin, and Future against like had a picture of Drake or something like that. But it was a pretty funny. So he did take on like 6, 7 people, pretty much.
And we're always like, to put yourself in Drake's shoes again, we're going to remember the summer of 2024 for a very long time, and it's not over, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of, like, it's just hard for me to imagine Drake watching this concert and watching the Not Like Us video come out. Like, how dormant can you lay? This dude's a psycho, like in a good way and a bad way. Like he's as successful as he is for a reason, but like, is he going to be able to take all that lying down? That seems very, very hard, even though it's what everybody would tell him is the smart move at this point.
Yeah, the smart move is just to relax and just wait till this like dies down and come back again next year. But who knows? He might do something crazy and like drop a video the same time Not Like Us comes out or right after it, just debunking the whole thing. But it has to be like super on point and super like it has to like shut everything Kendrick's doing down, or else it's just going to be a waste of effort.
And this, I was discussing this with like some friends from college and stuff as it was happening. It was right after, or before the Hard Part 6, or right after, because I kept saying every time they're like, "Do you think he's gonna drop again?" And I was like, if he does, it'd be for this reason. You need to do this, but the most important thing, above all, it's got to be atomic. Like you,
Yeah.
if he ever drops again, my heart will sink because it's like, all right, dude, if this is ass, it's gonna be so much worse.
Yeah.
Kendrick doesn't even have to do anything at that point. It'll be so much worse. Just, again, a la Meek Mill. But if you drop and it's atomic, then in this perfect circumstance, it could maybe work. And the more time that goes by right now, the more atomic it would have to be for it to make it worthwhile for him to hop back in with something.
That's true. He can't. It has to be perfect. If there has to be like 100%, no flaws in this diss track. So if Drake decides to come out and just drop another one, it has to be perfect, or else you're gonna get clowned even more.
And like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. What does it change at all the way that you look at like Drake's career? I mean, it has to a little bit, like to lose such a major battle, but also like it's a great thing that somebody that they gave us this. You know, it might come from a place of hatred between them. Both of them, for all I know, could be guilty of bad things. I don't know. I don't know these people, but you know,
Right.
whenever you're, I don't know, rich and powerful and have like a weird background, who the hell knows what you're capable of? I don't know. But at least after all this, we can like they gave us this. This was a great thing that like everybody loved to listen to. It was fun. This is what there is supposed to be. And a diss to me, and this goes for the whole anybody who does anything for World Star too. A diss is not hopping on Instagram and saying that you don't like somebody's music. A diss is when you write that down and you put it in a song format. And we got that in a big way. And it was an amazing thing to witness.
It was one for the books. As far as Drake goes, I don't look at him any different. I think my opinion on him changed as a writer when the whole ghostwriting thing came out with the reference tracks and everything like that. Then more reference tracks came out. And I found out Lil Yachty did a song for him, Jumbotron. There's a reference track for Jumbotron that Lil Yachty did. So um, he's getting, I guess, if it's an opportunity for the other artists to have like writing credits for Drake's song because he's so powerful and he has like a whole bunch of billions of streams, so they can get money in their pockets. That's cool. But as far as like lyricist is concerned, I'm kind of iffy on that. I mean, his diss tracks don't have ghostwriters, so that's good. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. I like his songs, but overall, I'm on the fence with him. He's cool though.
It's a weird thing. Like, it's a weird thing being like a Canadian dude with his racial background. It's always been a thing, you know, that like it's always followed him. It's never been such a factor as it is right now, you know, for a bunch of different reasons. And,
Right.
you know, people were able to capitalize on that. But this couldn't have happened at a worse time in human history for Drake, you know.
Right.
But so now to move on just a little bit, and we've covered a great deal of topics here. Do you ever listen to 7 Minute Drill and still wish that J. Cole would have been a little bit more a part of this?
Yeah, I kind of did because I like J. Cole. I like J. Cole a lot. I like his music a lot. I think he's a great art, very good rapper. I don't know why he bowed out. Maybe he just thought like in the long run, he probably like not oversaw it, but he kind of like predicted like, all right, if I really go into this and it's not how I expect it to be. This can trickle down to my artist, because he has a label. He has like JID, he has like Earth Gang, he has Ari Lennox. So if he goes into this battle and then something happens that's not in his favor, it can trickle down and hurt the other artists. So he probably did this on a business standpoint. Like, I want peace. I want these guys to succeed also, and it's not always about me. So let me just bow out.
And yeah, like, you know, maybe he knew it was going to get muddier than would have been, because, like, you know, what happens then? Does Kendrick, you know, throw J. Cole in the mud, or does he leave him out of that? If J. Cole doesn't take it there, does J. Cole, you know, if he jumps in, do people start giving him a ton of shit because he's seemingly, you know, like aligned with Drake because of first person shooter? You know, there's
Oh yeah.
because then they lump them in together, and that's a terrible spot for J. Cole to be in, you know. But this is the thing. J. Cole's always been a dude that I find annoying, and it's like, like that's what you're gonna say, or that's what you're gonna do in this situation. And then I'm like, well, let's put on 7-minute drill. Let's see what this was. And I'm like, damn it, that's good. Like,
Yeah.
J. Cole's a dude I think I'm annoyed by, and every single time I hear a song by him, I'm like, son of a bitch, that's real good. Like,
Yeah.
this is the only part that bothers me, is I hear that song and I hear that beat switch and that second verse to it, which is like really good, and it sounds intense and like it's something that he wanted to do. And then he's out and it's like, well, man, like, there's always been this talk of, you know, big three, the three of them, who's the best, and he's always, you know, been seemingly a competitive guy, and is
Yeah.
always, man, if you think you're the best, go out and like say you're the best, and like, you know, be a part of this. But was it probably ultimately smarter? Yeah, you just would love to see someone with that kind of lyrical range be a part of something that was so great.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. But he chose the higher road, because imagine if J. Cole was a part of this and he got thrown into Not Like Us, and they made a crowd, and Kendrick made like a chant about Dreamville or something about J. Cole. This could affect him. It's not like, because Kendrick, he doesn't have his label. Drake doesn't have like a label's big as Dreamville. So it's just, I think it's like a business standpoint. J. Cole just said, let me just relax on this.
And it's so much easier too, because you've always thought that, like, of the two dudes, Drake's the more likely dude to have skeletons in his closet. You know, like,
Yeah.
Drake isn't on the Diddy, Jay-Z, Dre, like the billionaire level, but he's like one tiny rung below that, where it's like, yeah, if this guy sticks around and makes like wise business decisions, we might be talking about, like, you know, him being a billionaire and being one of these moguls. Now, again, whatever happens with these two dudes, we're gonna find out like over the next couple years.
Yeah.
It'll depend so much. So anyway, dude, that's so many topics, and like there's so much stuff we could even like still touch on, like how like this also coincided with a bunch of influencers like chasing down child predators in Walmart and like using that to like get their clout and shit. Like, it's such a weird, so many weirdos out there in studio apartments, man, that go home and just say vile shit to people at night.
Crazy times. Jeez.
Oh my God. And I always say, like, all right, I'm gonna stop looking at that shit for a little bit. And then I'm like, hold on, like, what's that? And it's like, no, like, this is poison. Like, you got,
Yeah, it's a lot, especially on Twitter. You gotta like have a balance. And like, it gets overwhelming sometimes.
yeah, I'll end it off on this. Because one of the things that I discussed too with some people is like who I think like still out there in the industry, all factors aside, let's even say that Kendrick doesn't have it, like, who's the best artist Drake could beat. But on this, like, now that we've seen two Goliaths go at it, what is like what is some sort of diss track exchange between like two other artists that you could see happening in the future that you would like to see?
See happen in the future. Trying to think who was a lyrical artist that they have problems. Because there's some artists who have like issues, but it's not like Freddie Gibbs and Jim Jones, but it's not. Oh, well, Jim Jones, he dissed Pusha T, but Pusha T didn't really respond. But the Clips are coming back. They have an album and they have a tour coming. So maybe on the album, Clips will finally officially respond to Jim Jones. So that could be interesting.
That's fun. It's fun to think about, and like, but I think like you'll see people maybe trying to like hop on the diss wave and like, you know, get some clout that way. Other people, I think if you've got anything you don't want anybody knowing, might want to stay away from battles for a bit. Like this is a whole story played out.
That's true. If you have like a big skeleton in your closet and you know you did something, it's best to like sit this one out because people will find out. Somebody will do their due diligence, find out.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming back on this podcast. This has
Anytime.
been, as soon as this started happening, I knew that I wanted to talk to you about it on here. Folks, check out Cypher Clique and their full body of work, their full discography.
Thank you.
I cannot recommend more. Very smooth, mellow listen, but the very versatile group. Love to listen to them. Jay, anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say? The floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Shout out to Cypher Clique, Mike Anthony, D Major. Follow us on all platforms. Cypher Clique. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, iTunes. We have a show. If you're in the PA or DE Jersey area, we have a show with Trina and at Reverb Club in Reading, PA, July 19th, which is on a Friday. So if you're free, you can come out and see us. And other than that, new music and videos on the way.
Folks, thank you so much for listening to another interlude episode of Tap That. We got UFC 303 coming up this weekend. Check out my picks on that. Have a great week. Peace.
Peace.